two people evaluating speech, Steve Murphy and Lady Tamika, so they'll do a bit of a back and forth round robin after Blaine goes up and speaks. So I was looking at some of these extreme lifestyles, and you hear a lot about extreme sports, but what qualifies a sport as extreme? So I found a definition that said sports that involve a high level of danger that take place in air, land, or water, and that's kind of the generic definition. I thought. I found this quote that said, "There are only 3 sports: bullfighting, motor racing, and mountaineering. All the rest are merely games," implying that a sport is truly defined by an activity which has, the possible consequence of death. And so, furthermore, I saw this site. I was looking up the sport. This, to me, was probably the most extreme sport that I've ever researched. It's called wingsuit flying. So it's you literally fly your human body through the air in a squirrel body-like suit, and it gives you a little extra surface area to fly. It starts off with a base jump, and these athletes can graze with their fingernails a side of a cliff, going excess speeds of 100 miles per hour. So just a flick of a different wind can cause them to completely tumble. And an interesting stat about this is there's only 1,200 of these wingsuit flyers that are certified, and the fatality rate so far has been 115, so it's a 10% chance that you'll die if you sign up to do this sport. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker tonight, Blaine. He's a new member. He is a fellow B of A employee. He works in compliance. He went to App State. And his speech tonight is Demography Destiny. Yeah. So I'd like to introduce Blaine.
Thank you. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Is Demography Destiny? A good man by the name of Arthur Kemp. He's a British writer. I think he was on something. In regards to China's workforce, I believe demography is destiny, and hopefully I will persuade you as well. So the hot topic is China. China has been a competitor of the United States, the #1 economy in the world, for the past decade or so. We've had competition in energy use, car sales, and a variety. You can see here, 2010 overtook the U.S. as far as manufacturing output. So, it's making great strides, and it's causing lots of competition and worries from Americans. Not only do we have economic competition, but we also have military competition. For the past 30 years, we have 16% growth in China's military. 16% year over year is a pretty big number. So, China is a force to be reckoned with. If nothing else, IMF foresees China being the #1, the largest economy in the world come 2017. They are a force to be reckoned with, but there are some deep-seated flaws in their economic environment. First being the fertility rate. Since I think everyone's familiar with the one child per parent or one child per family policy the government enforced, I believe it was a couple of decades back. Basically, it's like the policy's title. It's enforcing you can only have one child per family. Well, this is good. It's very effective. So much so that it's driven down the fertility rate from 2.6 to 1.56, and it seems like a minuscule number, but when you couple that with billions and billions within China over 30 years, it's So it basically, the chart here is just a visual to show you that over time, 2010 to 2050, China's population is going to decrease, whereas America is going to increase 30%. Another issue that China will be facing in the coming years is average age. Average age will increase. Look at 1980, the median age was 22, and this is characteristic of a young, kind of poor, developing country. Present day, it's the average age is 34.5, and this is actually characteristic of somewhere like the United States, where it's 37, it's rich, developed. In the future, we're talking the average age 2050 is ways out, but the average age will be 49. So who will support that economy is the question it brings. And it's going to put a lot of the burden on the children, which in Chinese tradition, especially the sons, the children are supposed to support the elderly, especially the parents, and sometimes if the grandparents are still alive, the grandparents as well. So that's going to bring up a 4-2-1 phenomenon. 4 grandparents, 2 parents on 1 individual. And I don't have to go into depth there. That's pretty, even if they cut back savings, you're still going to have to rely on pension. So right now, China is far from established solid pension fund. So the main issue to deal with is workforce, the shrinking workforce. So as this wave of graduating workers graduates into retirement, you're going to have a shrinking workforce. So from 2010 to 2050, it's going to decrease by 11%. Right now, China is supporting their economy through cheap labor. So who's going to provide this cheap labor? Is this going to mean the end of China as a world factory? Maybe. It's already seeing supply of cheap labor decrease in the past couple of years. So of course, one resolution, I guess, would be to import workers from other countries. However, this brings on a whole other problem. China is very set on their tradition, and it's an old tradition. You bring in this massive wave of immigration, it's going to, there's going to be clashing there. So that is one remedy. So in conclusion, I don't think China is going to come out of this unscathed. Obviously, because of the reasons I noted. This is up to you guys. It's a question for you. Do you think it'll be fatal, or do you think this is just really going to hobble the massive force that our competition? And the main thing that I'd like for you guys to take away from this is, I always try to think like an entrepreneur. Knowing this information, how can we capitalize